Okay, we are here for another episode of Illustration Masterclass. I am Kyle Webster and I'm your host. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to talk about something really fun and really popular and really kind of one of those things that just took off like a rocket about 10 or 15 years ago and hasn't stopped, and that is illustrative hand lettering. You know, hand lettering but with an illustration kind of angle to it. And of course there are a million ways to do this. And today I'm just going to explore one out of a million. But what I want to do is just talk to you all about some of the things to be thinking about in the back of your mind when you're doing this kind of work. Now, I'm not a calligrapher. I am not a traditional hand lettering artist. That is in no way something that has held me back from doing this kind of work for clients and for doing poster work and so on. The key to making it work is having a good sense of design and understanding how to make the letter forms fit nicely together, how to work with spacing, how to work with how one letter will sit next to another and not feel like it's either too cramped or like it's giving too much breathing room. These are the kinds of things, like if you're learning how to set type something as simple as understanding kerning, understanding visual spacing versus mathematical spacing and stuff like that. You have some basic understanding of type. You can then take that and use what you understand about basic design principles when you're drawing, and you can apply them to make it work out. So I've done a lot of lettering by hand for various projects, and I find it to be really enjoyable. So let's get started. I want to say hi to some folks who are watching here over on Behance. I see that we have Steve. I see Chow is here, and Umacorn, and Hina. Hi, and Viola, and Megan. Steve is here. I see Wade and Laura. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us. Mercurial is here. And who else? But by the way, folks, I should mention, if you're watching over on YouTube or on Twitter, I'm following the live chat on Behance. That's Behance, behance.net/live. Okay. All right. So here we have Photoshop open, and I've got a square format for today. The main reason being because, a lot of stuff nowadays gets made in squares, so it's easy to post to Instagram and elsewhere. There's no reason to limit yourself this way, but I thought for today, why not? We'll just stick with that. The idea is I wanted to take this word that I love, drawing, and turn it into an illustration. All right, that is the goal today. And I had this idea of like a person sitting down facing us and drawing. Okay, so they were sitting there, and I wanted to fit the letter forms in here to make this work. So this is one way to think about ways you could use lettering, is can you fit the letters into a silhouette of something, in this case a person who is drawing or writing, and can you make that work? That's just one way to do it. Of course, obviously if you want to get into this, there are so many other things you could do. You could have the actual subject, the person sitting here and doing the drawing. You could illustrate that, and then you could have the DRAWING around the silhouette going on the outside. You could have it hug the form, so each letter kind of fits in some way, like that. You can do things like have design element, like a banner or something behind them where you write on the banner. Obviously lots and lots of options here, but for this today, what I want to do is I want to try and just use the letter forms to suggest that we have a person drawing. And I have a simple idea in mind for how to do that. And I'm going to stack the letters of the word. I'm going to break them up in a way where if someone looks at it at first, they might say, what's this? And then they'll figure it out. So it doesn't have to be an immediate read. And here's my idea. So I'm thinking like, I'm going to stack things, trying to sort of make these an equal amount of space here, 1, 2, and 3. Thinking about that. Where I'm going to fit the R, the A, and the W from drawing in here. And then the I, the N, and the G. But the G is going to be a lowercase g, and I'm going to have this part swing out here, and this is going to be the arm of the person. And the D will sit up here and be the head of the person. If that makes sense to you all. Okay, that's the basic idea. Got some more folks chiming in here. Cornell, hey again, nice to see you. Noah, how's it going, man? I'm so glad you're here. I miss you. We need to hang out. I wish I could come to Portland and just hang out with you for a day again. That was so fun. It's been a while. Noah and I know each other from way back as illustrators. Noah, by the way, is an extremely talented draftsperson who's worked on animation and done editorial illustration, advertising, everything. In addition to the fact that he and I had a good time checking out the museum in Portland when they had an exhibit of work. I think, Noah, did you and I go to see the Leica exhibit where they had all their original puppets and stuff from Coraline and Box Trolls and all that? That was amazing. Anyway, yeah. Fabio, nice to see you. So here's my basic idea. So we're going to take this and we're going to blow it up. I want to make this fit nicely in this square here. Okay. And now I just have to figure out how to fit everything in. So I'm just going to knock this back and we'll start thinking about how to design this. Okay, so really make a new layer. There we go. I want to really start thinking about the shapes here. So we're going to make this kind of a wide D for the head there. I want to straighten that out a bit. So I'm thinking like maybe pull that out just a little farther like this. Okay, and that's kind of like my center point there. So let's take everything, just nudge it over a little bit. And so just under there, I want to draw kind of like this square kind of shape that's going to contain the RAW and the ING. So these should be about the same size. You know, if I want to get precise, I love this about Photoshop, so easy. I just do this. I draw myself a little rectangular marquee, drag it down and see how I'm doing. So those are pretty good. Nailed it. From here, I'm coming down. That's going to be that, what is that called anyway? Not the leg. What do you, help me out, type nerds out there. What do you call this bit here that swings down? Of course, I should know this because I was a graphic designer for, what, 5 years, full-time in a firm and everything, and I just still don't remember all the terminology that I had to learn back then. Shame on me. Down we go. Pull that over. So I think probably around this halfway mark, get that D over here. I think I want to have the hand kind of like drop in just past that, maybe like this. With a little writing instrument there, it'll just be like a little line to represent that. I'm going to keep this really graphic. The main thing I'm interested in is actually inside of these letter forms. I'm going to make them pretty chunky and fat, and I'm not going to use any holes. It's just going to be the silhouette of the letter forms. So like I want to have some cool textures and patterns and things inside of those. I think that'd be pretty nice. So I want to do this. Make that A into like a triangle. Maybe that angle's a bit extreme. Let me see if I can tidy that up. Just erase there. And then here for the W, I'm gonna actually follow that same angle there. So we're gonna maybe bring this out a bit more. And I'm gonna have this drop straight down. And then for the W, just like kind of break it apart at the top, but I'm not gonna, I'll leave the bottom of it alone. So come over here, maybe a little bit closer, a little tighter. Whoops, like this. 1, 2, and 3. So we'll try and make those a bit closer in terms of their width to one another, so it's not too crazy. So we got one there, one there, one there. DRAW. I can get rid of this now. Knock this back a hair more so it's not distracting me. And then let's see, so I got to think about that G that's going to come up here. All right. So I can leave me enough room for the eye in the end. I don't know. Kevin, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. All right, let's do this. Get that N in there. And how wide should it be? I feel like all of this stuff might be a little too tall. I don't know. Let's get the eye there. Make that a little narrower. Don't need it to be quite so chunky. Leave a little space here and handle the N the same way I did for the W, but just come like out from there. That feels okay to me. All right, so then here I can hide this and I can then erase away some of what's going on here. Just tidying it up a little bit. Probably at this point, I'm ready to start thinking about making these shapes, right? And I'm going to make them as selections. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Down we go. So then, but for the head, like I have to suggest that it's a head. So I think what I'll do is something like, because of these curves I have here, like this, and I've got this little curve right here and right here in the R, just take that same kind of energy and just go 1, 2, 3, or maybe like just a bit further over, so it's a little bit more, and then just put some like little lines, like this person is looking down at what they're drawing. You know what I mean? Whoops, here we go. And then because I have these 3 lines here, I could do like a 1, 2, 3 here for the cuff of the shirt, maybe. I don't know, we'll see if that looks terrible later. Might not be even necessary, I'm not sure. That might be one of those things that I just decided in the end is not adding anything. All right, so this is the basic design idea, right? Okay. Not using any straight edges yet, or like, you know, the only thing I'm doing is I'm holding down that shift key for my verticals and horizontals, which is helpful, of course, right? But I'm not too concerned about getting it perfect, really. Drawing. What do you think about that design? How's that work for you all? I like this. I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna be pretty cool, but you know, let's get rid of some of this extra stuff so we can really kind of feel how this is coming together. All right. All right, bring this down. Up we go. Don't need quite that much. And I think what we'll do too is we want to make sure these are kind of the same width here, here, and here. So I can make this slightly narrower, make this slightly wider, make this slightly narrower. Like this. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so they're getting closer there. You know, you can be picky. That's important. Does the head feel a little small? It does to me. I'm not sure why, but to me this just feels a little small. Even if it might even be the same height as the other letters, but I just feel like it needs a bit more presence. So I'm gonna do that. And that just feels better to me. And I'm gonna drop that down, just give it a bit more breathing room. I think it reads. I mean, I see drawing. Whoops, dropped my pen. Might take a second to see it, and that's totally cool. It doesn't have to be an instant read, but I think it's kind of doing the trick there. I'm not sure yet whether something needs to happen here. It's a big kind of empty space. I'm not sure. That's going to be something I have to figure out later. Probably the way I handle texture inside of there is going to be the thing that kind of, you know, determines whether or not it's working. Okay. So we can just make that decision later. For now, though, I feel pretty good. Hina says that the way I draw is therapeutic. I think that's really nice to hear. This person is exactly what you feel like, says Chow. That's cool. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Okay. So let's knock this back. So we just do this in stages, right? We go 1, we go 2, we go 3. We just keep tracing over stuff until we feel good about it, and then we do the final application of color, texture, or whatnot. So probably the easiest thing for me to do here is just actually physically draw what's there rather than use selections. I'm not sure how I want to go about it, but I think I might just color everything in with a solid color and then play with locking the layer transparency for those and seeing what I can come up with inside of those boundaries. That might be a good way to go. But Lasso tool might also be a good way to go. Tough decision. Let me see if I were able to do something like this, for example. You know, I could select something like that, and then I could grab the lasso tool and I could hold down the option key and just kind of like get rid of part of it like that, and get rid of part of it like this. It's not going to be totally perfect. Part of me wants it to not be totally perfect right now. It's going to be more charming, I think. Hope I'm right about that. But what I do is just knock that, whoops, go to new layer, knock that in, leave it be for now. Yeah. In the interest of time, I'll do it this way because after all, we are on a crunch. This is a tight hour, right? It goes fast. We know this from experience. We know that the time ban hammer shows no mercy. No matter how many Photoshop brushes you've contributed to the Photoshop universe, it doesn't care. Why aren't you gonna let me? Oh, geez, I know why. I had a feather on my lasso there, so let's try that again. There's our R. Here is our A. May as well try and knock the W in while we're here. Actually, don't want to do that. That's too little spacing. Let's get it a little closer. Still too little. Let's start about there. I know that's not perfectly horizontal, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I can fix that later. This is the tedious part. Wish I had some good jokes for you today, but I don't. I save those for the draw along show. So if you're not watching the draw along show, you're missing out on some dad jokes. And I know you don't want to miss those. Good for the soul. This is a simple one. You just do this. Make a little rectangular marquee. Throw that together. Do another one right here. I'm going to make that N just slightly wider than it currently is and make that G just a little smaller. That might help with that big blank space. And the good thing about a sketch, you know, is you don't have to be so married to the decisions you've made. You want to change things slightly, that's great. Or, you know, even if you want to change them a lot, that's kind of the name of the game, is you change things as you go to just make it look better. This is part of the process, you know? Yeah, never be afraid to say, wait a minute, I could improve upon that and make a little change. You know what I mean? Look at me going pixel level, down to the pixel. Okay. Almost there, almost there. All right, here, round out that edge. I'll go ahead and make that shape first, and then I'm gonna try and figure this out. So let's see. Down we go and around. Wow, what if I just get this in one shot? Not gonna happen. All right, so then we're gonna switch over here. Just doing it in chunks. And from here, we just kind of do this. And that feels a little wonky, so I'm gonna try and just sort of smooth that out. I know I can use the pen tool to do this a lot more precisely, but like I said, I'm kind of interested in this idea of it not being perfect. That to me is sort of nice. So there. All right. Does that read as drawing? I think it does. I think we're okay. Got some spacing issues. You know, this is a little narrow when compared with that. So what we do is we just kind of carve away at it a little bit. And now is a time where I could do something like just erase a little bit if I want to. You're okay. All right, so there you go. Just check in here. Any questions or anything like that? Yeah, dad jokes are an essential part of the draw along streams, Cornell. That's totally true. These two dads walked into a bar, and it hurt. That one brought to you by Steve. Thank you, Steve. I like it. Okay, it reads, says Biola. Got the Biola stamp of approval, which means it is time to move forward. Let's hide our sketch. Don't need it anymore. Now we've got these nice shapes here to play around with. Okay. So I'm going to... There's a couple of ideas we have here. One of which is... one of the ideas I have is that I could represent different kinds of media, pastel, charcoal, paint, whatever, with each of the letter forms. But I've seen that done before, and I'm kind of more interested in just playing with brushes and patterns and making a nice, pretty set of, you know, images inside the letter forms. So that's kind of what I think I'm going to do. So we've got our lock our layer transparency. I'm going to duplicate the layer so I can keep it as is before I start messing around and experimenting. And I'm going to pick a base color. I love orange. It's also my son's favorite color, and he and I both love this color. So, oops, let's go ahead and Option Delete to fill the foreground color there, and then start playing around. All right, brush time. So first things first, I do want to add some hair there. And remember, that's a linear thing. I haven't decided yet if I want to draw lines inside or cut lines away. Because both of those options could work. You know, for example, I could do this. You know, where I'm just cutting away from what's already there. I'm doing that by holding down the tilde key on my keyboard. Which means I'm erasing with the brush, basically. So that's one way to do it. And that could work. Or we could use some brushes in there and play with different colors. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm changing my mind here, and I kind of want to go with a totally different feel for color. And I'm going to use my elliptical marquee to make a selection, make it a little bigger. And that's going to be my hair section there. And let us now play with some stuff that's coming your way soon, and that is the Fall 2021 brushes, which I'm going to do a masterclass on next Friday. I'll show you all these, but why not just show you a little bit about how they look and feel now? Why wait? Why wait? Yep, I think I like that. All right, and then here, I'm just gonna go straight to black, and I'm gonna use like a charcoal kind of feel with this concept pencil. This concept pencil is really nice for drawing. It's a big one. Let's see how it feels to just do this. It's kind of nice. All right, I like it. And here, I feel like on the face I could add just some interesting little brush strokes and things. So same brush, this one we were using a moment ago, this Pigmentia Edge. I'm gonna grab this, go a little lighter, then go a little darker, and just kind of like that. So it's just not totally clean. And let's slide those over and down a little ways like this. All right, so there's our head. Yeah, so far so good. I think this is kind of this will be an interesting way to do it. Let's see, what do we want to do with this R? All right, got some ideas here. First, I want to use some analogous color. I feel like I'm gonna, for most of this, probably gonna be working with analogous colors. Try this. Oh, where's that circle brush? There's a circle brush in here that I like, circles with a Z. I just like this brush. Whoops, wrong layer. There we go. Get this color in here, and then I'm gonna go add a bit of juice. Like that. Oh yeah, that feels good. And I want to go a lot lighter. Let's go like really bright. Grab that charcoal brush again. And maybe we do a sort of radiating sort of thing where it's like the shape inside the shape, you know? Maybe like that. That's kind of fun. And then here I'm gonna go a lot warmer. Locking layer transparency is such a healthy thing, such a useful thing. This is the wonky variant brush, the wonky variant. And now I'm gonna grab a darker green, and with that same charcoal, just kind of draw inside it and make some scribbles like that. And now let's check out this W. See what we can do with this. Someone said that the drawing hand looked like a kitten. Oh yeah, I get it. Nope, I'm afraid that's not what it is, but hopefully it'll make sense when I'm done. I do love kittens though. Here I might go for less color. Let's just see what that is. See how that feels. I want to make it a little cooler though, so I'm going to do this. How are our values looking there? Go a little. Like that. This is the ratchet brush. Ratchet. All right, and here what I want to do is let's grab some halftone brushes. So we'll go into my brush sets here and we'll bounce over to the, let's see, where are they? Are they down here somewhere? You go all the way down. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I want to work with this Vincent brush because I just like it so much. This is named after Vincent van Gogh. Van Gogh. Sorry. Don't want to say it wrong. Get in big trouble. Do some kind of impressionist thing in there. See how that feels. Here, I want to just take that blue and I want to push it a little cooler and a little darker to start with. And we're going to use the Box It brush. See what that does? Nice texture stuff going on in there. Take some of this green, we'll go a little darker, a little greener, right underneath the other greens. And we have this power spatter brush, which we could use here. Excuse me. If that's too similar to the Van Gogh treatment, then I will probably change that. Let's see how that looks. The left ear should be blank, says Steve. Yes. Probably too samey. Could do without that. So instead, try some claw brush action here. I'm going to follow the forms that we have here with a, let's start by filling with, I like this color we were using a moment ago. I'm going to start there. Grab this darker color and go even darker. Make our claw brush a little smaller, and then I'm going to just draw along to follow the shapes that are there, like that. And for the G, I want to suggest that there's a shirt there, so what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to correct what I got going on here. Hold on. There we go. Make that a little cleaner. Okay, cool. Go back to lock my layer transparency. So to suggest that there's a shirt here, I think what I'll do is I'll make it like this. So it's like we have a sleeve. So the area outside of it, yeah, I'll do that afterwards actually. First I'll give it some texture and something interesting going on. Borrow from this yellow to pull it on down in here. And maybe we'll use this double edge brush. So the double edge brush has one side that's soft and one side that's hard. We do some pretty cool stuff with it. All right, here's where I'm gonna break for the sleeve. So pull this over a notch, and then we're gonna do a little section like that. Actually, I don't like the way I painted that, so that's better, a little smoother. And then here, same deal from the bottom edge up, and then here we're just gonna take that same blue that we have, and that's gonna be the color of the skin of this person. And we're gonna add to our selection so that we can give it that same treatment, whoa, that we gave the head, which was we used that Pigmentia edge brush. We went kind of dark. First we went on this, we went dark, right? Light, and then back to our original blue, just so that feels like it's all one kind of language. Running into contrast problems here, so what I'll do is beef up the contrast there. It's easy to do. Okay, and we were using that nice dark blue. We'll just go darker than that. And back to our double edge. Maybe that's what we want to do, just kind of hit it like that. And then, you know, since it gets kind of dark there, we can go back into our R. And give it a hit of that too. So there's a little bit more balance there. And we can go into our W. For some of the same. We want to pull some of that green in there. And that's where I could use that spatter. Power spatter brush. I know it's subtle, but those kinds of things to me are nice to just make sure a color shows up somewhere else, you know, so it's not just in one place. I feel like that yellow is it's too isolated. It's like it's there and then nowhere else. So again, like pull it over here into this A. There we go. I don't want to cover up all those scribbles though, so let's use our circles brush and we'll just hit it a few places and then go back to our concept pencil. Okay. And of course, you can do things like this. You can pull up your curves, you can go down and up. You can increase the contrast that way, right? This is what I love, is just doing these little edits. After you start to get things to feel like they're getting there, you know, try and play around a little bit with contrast and things so it's feeling good. All right, let's go back to our charcoal brush, which is actually a concept pencil soft, it's called. And we're going to make our little fingers here. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna ignore this sleeve idea I had from earlier. I think we just don't need that. And then here we just have our little pencil or whatever. And now we know that this person is drawing. If you wanted to, you could like do something like that. Design-wise, you know, you'd have to get the right squiggle. You know what I'm saying? You have to make a bunch of them before you feel good about it. Or you could bring that blue back out, or maybe that green, and say like, that's what I want to do. Or maybe you do nothing. I don't know. You know, this is the kind of thing where you have to play around until something feels kind of right. Gonna make a mask out of all this. And I just want to play with some stuff. If you've never used gradient maps, they're pretty interesting. Before I do this, I think I might play with some gradient maps. I might do that. We're going to go to our adjustment layers and come down to gradient map. This is a nice non-destructive way to work, and going to look at my gradients here, and what you can do is you can tap anywhere in here to add a color. So if I tap here, you know, I grab another color, it's going to basically take everything from the darker grays or to the mid grays in value, and it's going to make them like an orange color. So if you want to, oops, didn't mean to do that. Oh no. Tap here again. If you want to change the relationships there, you can pull this in like this. Ah, did it again. Shoot. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do, is change the way the gradient, see how it's creeping into the more medium grays there. So I pull this over here, it's getting darker, then it gets a little lighter. But you can get really weird, and you can do stuff like come over here, and let's add another one. And for this one, I'm gonna use some yellow. Make it a little greener. Obviously not quite that green. Come on, Kyle. And then like right here, I could go for more of a blue. So this is just such a fun, interesting way to work with color if you haven't tried it before. And obviously I've got these other layers that are underneath it, so I'm gonna need to actually pull this up. Actually, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our charcoal layer, and instead of using black, I'm just gonna grab a darker blue and see how that feels. No, I'm not really feeling this anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just not thinking that did anything good yet. I could do some more pattern work in there. I think that's where I probably need a nice little halftone. So let's do that. Halftone brushes, where are you? Here you are. So many choices. My gosh. I like this clam one. I just don't use it enough. Nah, that doesn't fit, fit the bill. Maybe just something more traditional, you know? Not that small either. That's more like it. I almost feel like I want to see it echoed somewhere else now, but I can't decide. All right, let's take a look at our gradient. So anyway, this is, yeah, gradient maps. They're so interesting. So you can play with these for ages and just keep fiddling around with the relationships. Dark to light and whatnot. You can get rid of this altogether. Pull this one back to here. This is a non-destructive way to work. We're big fans of that. Non-destructive workflows are awesome. You know, I don't want to have anything be totally white, so I just tap on this and I say, hey, let's sample some of that yellow there. And we're going to say that's our lightest light. Okay. And yeah, I know that impacted the background, but it's easy to just take your layer from before and go ahead and mask your help me out. Where's my black? Let me go Command Shift I. I'm gonna invert that and then fill that with black for that mask. So there's a completely different color scheme, color idea that I could work with. You know, it's fun to be able to look at these options and things like that. I think I kind of like the warmer one better. And I may also, oh, I think I like that. I think I like that. And for the layer with the drawing on it, the little charcoal lines, I would probably do this. Just sample from here, grab that, go a little darker, and do that. And that kind of unifies it a bit more. Yeah. Well, there you go. So, you know, in the amount of time we had, I feel like we've gotten something to a point where it's getting there. And this is a fun thing to do for you to experiment with, is how would you take letters and arrange them in certain ways, draw them in a certain style to come up with another kind of picture. In this case, you know, I'm trying to just very literally depict the meaning of the word, and that's fine. You can do that, and that can be all you need. But you know, I think what I'm going to do is I'll do another episode like this where we do something completely different with lettering and illustrations, so you can see just you know, more food for thought. I want you all to get ideas and excited about those ideas, because all you need is a little push sometimes to try something new that you've never done before, and that can be so hugely beneficial. You know, it's really sometimes all you need. So I hope you found this entertaining and interesting, and I hope that in some way what I've shown you today makes its way into your own work. And in the meantime, everybody have a great weekend. And as I always say, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Please remember to be kind, and I will say ciao for now. See you next week.